am going to continue to ask the question, a 20-hour response in a country the size of New Jersey, that begs a big explanation.
What he's saying is a 20-hour response time on October 7th. That's what he's talking about. That implicates Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government being in on what we all said. They funded Hamas. They gave a stand-down order. They knew this attack was coming for over a year, which means they were in on this. That this was a plan. This wasn't an accident that they didn't know Hamas was going to attack them. They knew it. They funded it.
America is significantly underwriting the Israeli government $4 billion a year. We as American taxpayers deserve answers to this. I mean, we pay for this. What are we buying, right? I got smeared as a Jew hater, an anti-Semite, and conspiracy theorist because I said exactly what I just said. And I refuse to back down despite all the smears thrown at me. You better keep asking questions because it's the only thing that keeps us free.
You better keep asking questions because it's the only thing that keeps us free. And if you talk to Mikey McCoy's pastor father, he'll tell you to shut up. Stop asking questions. Just accept what the government says. What's wrong with you? You're a bad person. The Lord wants you to shut up. The Lord wants you to shut up. Don't stop asking questions about who actually killed Charlie Kirk.
Hello and welcome back to the Exist Better YouTube channel. I have not been around in a while and I'm starting to change that with this video. I had a lot of other video ideas that are probably in the pipeline, but this seemed the most urgent, so I wanted to just come clean, come out and talk about it. Some of you may be following this, some of you probably have maybe no idea what's going on with this, but I just want to go over what I'm calling this war on intuition and how it's playing out and how it relates to what we talk about on this channel with the left and right brains. And obviously just some unprecedented cultural and societal things that are happening that I believe has never happened before. So as I always say, it doesn't matter your political perspective. If you have a strong political perspective, I notice a lot of times you will dislike this channel, this sort of content. But regardless of your opinion on Candace Owens, it honestly does not matter. It honestly doesn't matter, love her, hate her, indifferent to her, know nothing about her. Doesn't matter. Because I think either way, I'm going to tell you a story that's important for our time that we're living in. So if you haven't been following, I'll give you a really, really brief synopsis. Obviously, I'm not the person to look to for this. Lots of people are covering this, kind of on the sidelines, not in the mainstream. So if you look to the mainstream, you'll get a very different story of what's happening. So Candace Owens does not believe in the assassination story that the mainstream is giving. She has been doing live streams almost every single day, uncovering different evidence, reporting different things. There's also a whole kind of secret team, not so secret anymore, but secret to the mainstream, a side team of researchers, reporters, investigators, military men, technology people researching this assassination. In this process, Candace Owens has talked very openly about Charlie Kirk, that he knew he would die even when he wasn't famous. He knew that this was coming. He would have dreams about it. She also talked openly about her own dreams, about the assassination story being incorrect, what the mainstream is sharing being incorrect, and that there's much more going on. I just want to note, first of all, we have a public figure, and a public figure on the conservative side of the coin, talking about dreams. She goes in to talk about synchronicities, strange events that were happening to her and Charlie as they were rising to fame. Both kind of suspicious events, but also just synchronistic things. So the fact that we have such a popular public figure talking about these things, dreams, synchronicities, as if they're just like a given, like of course they're happening, like how could we ignore these things happening, right? So obviously conservatives have radically turned against her and begun what I would refer to as a modern-day witch hunt.
Either Erica Kirk is evil and was in on it, or Candace Owens is an evil cunt.
Boy, does Candace Owens get a lot of attention. It could just be that she says things that sound absolutely insane.
For those who don't know, Candace Owens is a far-right podcast host and MAGA media figure who I think is genuinely suffering some sort of psychotic break.
Transitioning closer to Halloween, I'm not quite there yet. We wanted to talk about Candace Owens and maybe some craziness online with her. And she's getting all kinds of visions and interpretations and ideas about Charlie Kirk.
If it violates the scriptures, it doesn't matter how powerful or real it is deceptive and it is demonic.
What she's doing here is leading many astray.
We've all had some weird dreams. We've all, what is the psychological interplay between wake and sleep?
And maybe like a subconscious obsession with a man.
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
Yeah. Or a conspiratorial mindset that goes to fear.
And speaking of witches, let's roll the next clip.
I just find this idea that she's making all these suggestions without evidence very painful for people. I had a dream that Charlie told me this. That's not evidence. I mean, maybe she's right.
A witch, demonic, obviously a liar, ungodly, all these things, right? 99% of the time I've seen this, it is popular, conservative, white men. So don't worry, if you're a white man watching this, I'm not saying you're the problem. It's nothing like that. It's just that these patterns have been set up a long time ago. These have been in motion, catching momentum for years, centuries even. And it's no coincidence whatsoever. And of course, conservatives are turning their backs on these conservative speakers and investigators who are increasingly stepping away from the bipartisan system. Tucker Carlson is one. Candace Owens, obviously. Charlie Kirk, I believe, was sort of becoming one, even though they're all still religious conservative. They're stepping out of this bipartisan system, and they're starting to turn the flashlight for the first time onto, wait a minute, forget liberals for a second. Forget how angry and hateful we are at liberals. What else is there? Who's really behind all of this? And this has been something building for years now, so it's not too shocking, that side of it. But also why these are unprecedented times, as we used to say in the COVID days. Right now, I would say, are the real unprecedented times, because we have a worldwide community of people with computers, with data, right? With professional backgrounds in looking into these issues, and they can do so independently, and they can share their insights with other people who are doing the same thing. And this is growing and growing and growing. Regular people looking into things. This wouldn't be possible without the technology and the data that we have today. We have things like Google Trends, which a lot of people were using to look into this and finding their own things, just sitting at their house, finding information that conflicts what the government and the FBI is telling them. And more and more and more people are watching and learning and sharing their own bits. Here's what I found out. Here's what I know. Here's what I think could be going on. People using their careers to share information. Well, I know this because I work at this location, and etc. This is unprecedented. We are slowly catching on to the fact that there will never be proof from a mainstream source. There will never be truth, proof, absolute certainty, anything from a mainstream source, because there's no incentive for anyone mainstream to do that, right? They're either highly indoctrinated and unreliable because of this bipartisan war, conservatives versus liberals going on forever and ever. They're either too indoctrinated to even see straight, because they're too wrapped up in that. We'll talk about that later in this video. Or they're highly corrupt and, again, have no incentive to share any information with you. So similar to issues like alien disclosure, people are pushing for alien disclosure. Aliens are not going to be disclosed to us by authority figures. And if they are, it's not in a truthful way where we can believe the information being given. We cannot continue to look to government and media officials for spiritual, what is honestly spiritual information. They are either not going to have it or they're not going to give it. But we are now living in an environment where intuition development is a requirement. You can't put it off any longer. There is not going to be some logical, infallible source of information. No ChatGPT. It's not gonna come from there. It's gonna have to come from you. It's gonna have to come from the people in your community, the people you're talking to, the people you're sharing information with. That's the only place the truth is ever gonna come from. So like we talk about the work of Ian McGilchrist on this channel and this increasingly left brain dominated society that is squelching and suppressing and squashing the right brain and what it knows. This is not only happening on the most granular level in the human brain, it's also happening, as we talk about, in a cultural level, and it's playing out among people. An example of this is the Candace Owens phenomenon. You know, someone saying, I know this is false, I know it's not true, I have a bunch of intuitive information. She has also logical and factual information, but especially the intuitive information to me, especially coming from a woman. Women have, you know, we've kind of maybe touched on this channel, but women have different bodies than men. They're more attached and almost like sensitive to gut instinct. You have this person who will not shut up. No doubt in her mind about what is happening here. Podcasters, these bros, talking about where's the proof, there's no evidence. How could you be talking about this without evidence? Because they're so trapped in the mind. They can't imagine what it might be like for a person to glean information from somewhere else. And this is the war on intuition that is continuing over the centuries. We're afraid of people who have intuitions and who run with them and who won't stop because they know that their intuitions are correct. We fear this, we hate this, and we want these people taken down. Reputationally, literally removed from society. Whatever has to be done, we want them gone. So I say intuition development is required in this sort of a culture, this sort of media frenzied, continuously spiraling away from our bodies and into our minds and our triggers type of place. How does intuition, what does that even mean? What does intuition development even look like? And how do you even know that you can believe yourself? This has been a theme I've touched on repeatedly on this channel. I talk about gaslighting in several videos, self-gaslighting in several videos. And it's also been kind of the story of my life. For whatever reason, that has been my main experience in life, is gaslighting from the outside. Do I believe myself? Am I gaslighting myself? And this is all about perception of reality, right? So how do you develop your intuition when you don't know what to believe and no truth is going to come from the outside? And if it is, it's going to be from someone who the scales have fallen from their eyes and you can trust them because they have no dog in the fight except for knowing the truth. So you develop your intuition by knowing where your pain is, your deepest, heaviest pain. Why is that relevant? Because the pain, I found, is where the blind spots always are. The pain is where the blind spots always are. So we talk about the unconscious on this channel, and what really is the unconscious? The unconscious is what you don't know, right? It's not just like, I don't think I know about this, let me research it. It's like, you don't know that you don't know. It's, again, coming from this part of the brain that is very biological. It's very wired into your survival. There is a correlation between the right brain and the unconscious, for certain. So when you have a blind spot, it's not, people always talk about critical thinking, it's not critical thinking. It is a blind spot because it's wired into your body to not know this. And your intuition, this is your body, right? Your intuition is going to tell you the wrong thing about that situation. Why? Because of the wound, okay? So stick with me here. This is the crux of everything. You want to develop your intuition. You want to know who to trust in the media. You want to be able to see with clear eyes who's lying, who's telling the truth. What you need to do is find your own pain. And your own pain is going to dictate, in some ways, these certain beliefs you have, these certain reservations you have. As I always say, this is why we have the political split. So one of the first things that happens when someone starts to wake up out of their own personal delusions about life, about people, about what happened to them, they will start to come out. They won't be able to participate like they used to in the political split. It will no longer make sense because you're stepping back and you're becoming literally whole. A whole person, not a half a person, right? I'm liberal, I'm half a person. I'm conservative, I'm half a person. I'm the other opposite half a person, right? When you start to come out of your own delusions and subconscious misunderstandings about life and yourself, you can't do it anymore. You can't play the game anymore. The jig is up. You have to just be able to see. So this can be complex. If you have things that have happened to you in your life, if you have bad childhood experiences, if you have misunderstandings with certain types of people, these are all going to play into your inability to see clearly. Maybe you have issues within yourself where you are repressing those aspects of yourself and then projecting issues out onto other people. This is also happening continuously all the time. But once you start to reckon with these pain points, at least a little, you're starting to rustle things up in the unconscious, think and notice things you never noticed before, you naturally and automatically become less polarized. And then the stakes aren't so high for seeing something outside of what you normally see, for agreeing with people you don't typically agree with, right? The stakes are not so high because you're not losing your entire identity. You've already integrated these various aspects. The heavier the indoctrination, the heavier the conditioning, the heavier the blind spots. So we see people naturally, this is a natural progression of what happens when you start to awaken. So we see people like Candace Owens starting to backtrack on what normally entertains them, fighting the liberals, right? Fighting the conservatives. And we start to see them backtrack and they're like, wait a minute, that doesn't interest me so much anymore. What I'm interested in is this new stuff, this new set of information. So as you do this process, one, your intuition improves naturally and automatically. Why? Because your intuition isn't just feeding you fear-based, I hate those people kind of information constantly, right? You can quiet that down a bit and be like, well, I can see why they feel that way. Or I can see the part of me that is like them. That's the main thing. To be primarily led by your linear, logical mind is no longer enough. In fact, as I've covered in a different video, I believe that is where the programming actually happens, funny enough, because we have this left and right brain split. We have communication between the two hemispheres, but it's not that much communication. Especially in our current culture, we're really driven to be left brain. So the suppression of the information coming over from the right brain is going to keep getting more dramatic and intense. I talk about how this happens in cults in my video, where it's like the US is a cult or something. So we need to learn how to take this information coming from the right brain and glean, like, is this false information from past wounds and pain that left an imprint on my nervous system, or is this the truth? Like when you're out somewhere, you see someone who looks shady and you're like, I don't know about them. Is it just your intuition working, or is it your intuition malfunctioning because of pain? Pain creates the blind spot. So to complete this metaphor, we have all these conservative people, especially conservative men, who are trying to shut up Candace Owens, who intuitively has information. She's having dreams. She's saying this doesn't add up, and here are all the reasons why. I've been observing these patterns for many years. She talks about all these patterns she's observing, and it's funny because exactly what we talk about in the brain, we have the logic, like shut up, right? The right brain's like wait, there's something I got to, this is important. Left brain's like shut up, we'll kill you. If it comes to it, if we have to, we'll kill you. So I wanted to share this because in-depth psychology, there is no practicality. There is no understanding of how these patterns are playing out in real time. And what do they mean? And how do we know what to think or feel? This is not just conjecture. This is not just, oh, well, it's, to each his own. Like, I disagree with you. Like, there are actual right and wrong. There's truth and there's false. And in coming out of these blind spots, it's how we can see it. Spiritual development is not just about what's cute and fun and easy and interesting and reaffirms everything we already believe. It's the rubber's hitting the road. This is where we're at right now, societally. We are at a point where we can't hide from shadow anymore. And if we don't have the balls to swallow and digest the level of corruption we are actually looking at in the world, then our dignity is lost. That's it.